Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you is a Terran versus Terran on Winter's Gate LE, where apparently one of our Terran players is already sending out an SCV towards what seems to be the other side of the map. Spawning here in the southeast corner, playing with the blue Terran pieces. From South Korea, we are looking inside of the main base of Dream. And his opponent not just sending out a single worker, but a second one as well. Playing with the red Terran SCVs, we have none other than Cure. Alrighty, so it looks like he's gonna start up a refinery. He's starting up a barracks just outside of the main base right here of the blue Terran player. This is certainly going to be a little bit of a Reaper cheese. It's one of those builds that definitely has to do some damage, but it doesn't even have to do that much. I mean, you can always go ahead and use those flying barracks as well for some scouting purposes. And obviously, even though your barracks is on the other side, you can still follow it up with a factory quite easily. Now, if this is scouted, that would be huge. Dream, sadly for him, not gonna check out this little area. Instead, he's just gonna send the SCV straight through that bubble towards the other side. He will figure out the lack of a barracks over there, so I guess that will give him some information, but this is definitely still gonna be a commitment right now from Cure. We'll see if he actually decides to go all out with this. Now he's gonna go for the orbital command here. No second refinery taken just yet, so we'll see how much damage he's gonna be able to deal. Dream will figure out that something's not quite right. He sees the lack of CC on the low ground, sees the lack of barracks right here on the high ground too. He should not, okay, there you go. He should not be starting up a command center there. Good scouting timing there by Dream. Immediately starts up a bit of a semi-wall over here on this jumping pad. Really like this. So this is the only location where you can actually jump up with the Reapers. Cure already rallied over there. Beautiful move there by Dream actually. Forcing these Reapers to go all the way around. Second bunker now also coming up. Obviously, this is gonna, require some excellent micro here because there's always gonna be more units here for Cure. That one SCV that was purposed for scouting, I think it's gonna end up dying here as well as soon as it tries to make its way back into that main base. There is a factory coming up. Dream is gonna be forced to make an extra couple of bunkers here too. Nice dodge once again on that grenade. One SCV already going down. Second SCV still lives. Bunker finishes as well. And you know what? So far, this has been extremely clean here by Dream. Really showing us how you're supposed to deal with that. So basically what you need to do is you need to have perfect scouting and then perfect response as well, guys. That's all it takes. Just don't make any mistakes. It's pretty easy, okay? Just get good at StarCraft. Jeez. How hard can it be? Just know the exact timing at which you need to send out an SCV to watch the other side of the map. So you arrive there, you don't start up the command center on the low ground and then just, create the wall-offs and the bunkers in the perfect locations. How hard can it possibly be? Now, obviously, it's a very difficult move. Dream, by the way, as of me making this video, for those of you curious, the rank 35 in the world. Cure, the rank 8. I've mentioned a bunch of times already that Cure is one of those very underrated players, in my opinion. I mean, the entire top 8 is very good, obviously, at the game. I mean, surprise, surprise. But he's certainly the one player that nobody really talks about in that top 8 when you compare it to some of the other big names there as well. All right, so the bunkers get salvaged. Only the cost of 50 minerals right there in total. Command center does start up, but it's actually, not even terribly timed right here when you compare it to the command center on the other side of the map. So even though that certainly was something that Cure wanted to deal damage with, it really was denied wonderfully there. Excellent work there by Dream. It's funny, right? Like, I was actually thinking he was in a little bit of trouble when he didn't check this location, but I guess there's like a million different locations where those barracks could be. Barrackses, yeah, I don't know what the correct plural is, but there's about a million different locations where those barracks could be, and I guess he just simply knew the exact timing at which he would have to send out that SCV to not start up the command center on the low ground. Oh, would you look at that, actually? Interesting. Okay, so most of the time, it's actually going to be double command center here as well from Dream. So many things to talk about. Dude, he just started up another command center. Anyways, this is scouted immediately as well by Cure. Cure right now, even though he's got 2 barracks, he's going to sacrifice one of them inside of the main base, but it looks like he's making a switch towards what seems to be Mech. I mean, we don't really know for certain, but judging by the fact that he's got the extra gas over here and the natural, and he's going for, the upgrade right here to the Cyclones, I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to make quite a few of those units. He could obviously still use it for aggression as well. There's no denying that the majority of games still revolve around bio tanks, so just Marines and siege tanks, and Medivacs and then Vikings, Liberators and all that. I do like seeing Mech in this matchup as well. It's surprisingly good, but it can be difficult to transition into. Obviously, it's not nearly as mobile. Even though, obviously, the Cyclones are pretty quick, they're not going to be able to be as mobile as, say, for example, a group of Medivac or a group of Marines instead of a Medivac. Anyways, Cloaking Field now also coming up, so he's definitely looking on applying a bunch of pressure to his opponent. Third Command Center starts up as well. Fourth Refinery here already too. Okay, cool style hillbreak here. Wonder what he wants to execute here in just a sec. Raven available now for Dream. Raven has actually become a very important unit in this matchup. Wow. Is he gonna... Wow, that's actually cheeky. Maybe he shouldn't have gotten rid of that bunker yet. Or maybe, like, replaced it with, like, another couple of supply depots right over here, too, to complete that wall, but... Anyways, Ravens are extremely helpful in this matchup. I saw someone comment the other day, Lowko, why don't we see Ravens very much in StarCraft 2? Well, that's probably my fault. I don't cast as much TVT. I haven't really seen that many great TVTs recently, but this one is really starting out very, very strong. But basically, Ravens are very popular in the Terran versus Terran matchup. Because of the interference matrix, you can shut down important units of your opponent temporarily. So it's the first ability right over here, the one with the little, like, blue, I don't know, splash thing. Basically, if you land the interference matrix on, say, a siege tank, you can disable it from firing temporarily, which is huge. So it's become very popular over the last year or so, specifically in TVT, and it's actually made the matchup way more interesting as well. Would you look at that? Extra factories, hyperflight rotors coming up as well. Does he already have the cloaking field? He does. So he's gonna have completely maxed out like Banshees here in just a second. Very interesting. There's also this like semi-wall setup over here too. So Dream is not really gonna be able to send that much out across the map. Second Banshee is gonna join in too. Okay, so hyperflight rotors is a speed upgrade for Banshees. Now already, Dream is waiting, man. He knows that something's not right. He's seen the green light right there inside of the tech lab. He's like, okay, you know what? If you're right over there... Both of these players are so fast. If you're right over there, I will just simply try and counter you before you even get into my main base. Really impressive, actually, but the way that that Dream is playing defensively, right? Really nicely done so far. By the way, for those of you curious, Dream was a name who was very well known back in the early days of StarCraft 2. However, he decided to do his military duty pretty early, actually. Most of the Koreans seem to wait until, like, they have to do their military duty at, like, age 27, I think, is when you're forced to do so. So that's when a lot of the pro gamers retire. Dream, however, did his military service early, and now he's back. So he's basically got, well, his entire life right now uninterrupted in front of him, and he definitely has become a much better player throughout 2019 already. Interestingly enough, looking at his Liquipedia page, he actually qualified for the GSL at age 14. That's insane. Like, some of these players are so talented, like, it's pretty ridiculous, right? Anyways, Hyperflight Rotors is done. Cloaking Field available as well. He can just kill that missile turret if he wants to, or he can fly by it. Looks like the Banshee just barely stays alive, and here we go. But a little bit of target firing, you can kill about 1 million SCVs. Even though the counters are available right now for the Terran player in blue, interference matrix also utilized there. We still see a lot of SCVs going down. He's just diving straight into those mineral lines. 14 SCVs go down, no, 15 in total in just the blink of an eye at the cost of 4 of those Banshees. Bit of a brave move there, right? I mean, he obviously recognized that those Banshees were hard countered already. But you do have to have all of your units in the right spot. Now, since he is going mech, he does have more siege tanks at this point in the game than we normally see. Oh, I love this little move out as well with the Cyclones, forcing this army to siege up right now and just simply slowing everything down a bunch. But he does have a lot of siege tanks here available. Now he's also transitioning towards Vikings. And while it's going to be hard to finish up this command center on the left, I don't see that one happening anytime soon. He should still be... I mean, unless it's not scouted. He should, though. Right? Oh, come on. He should still be able to defend against this, I would say. Gonna lose one siege tank right there. That was a little bit too brave. A couple of Vikings coming up, too. Man, if this command center finishes, that would be crazy. It's like all of those Marines have, like, those blinders that, like, horses sometimes have. How do you guys not see that? It's literally right over there. Come on, guys. Okay, there you go. He does notice it. In the meantime, there's still that single Reaper from the early game. On the other side of the map, a couple of SCVs are pulled for that instead. Siege tank, sieged up all the way in the back. Command center here on the left-hand side is gonna be forced to be cancelled. And while the Vikings are desperately trying to get something done, that air dominance is definitely in favor of Dream for the time being. Siege tanks, as always, can shoot further than they can see, so having that air dominance or a scan available is very critical. I guess the only downside right now, right, is that, yeah, Dream is not going to be able to push into that, but Cure can't really expand very easily either. He's actually going for 2 additional command centers. Very cool. So he's feeling confident in the fact that he can defend against this. I mean, there's no way that you're going to push up this ramp, right, with that many siege tanks. It's just not going to happen. I would love to see another command center right now from Dream, just to continue asserting dominance on his map, because he's not going to be able to push into that. It's not going to happen. He does need to be careful, though, because, I mean, how many siege tanks are there in total? It's 13 versus 7. That's huge. Still, though, these tanks can shoot quite far away. One of them ends up falling there. 2 actually end up falling there in total. 4th command center starts up here on the right-hand side of the map, too. Dude, I love seeing this, like, bio army versus mech army. It used to be more common back in the day. We don't see it that much anymore these days. You know what? If you can't really get the air advantage necessarily, right? Just because your opponent is already going Marines and whatnot. Do you think adding in Thors at this point in the game would be a good idea? I would actually like to see that. I mean, Cure, you have enough siege tanks, right? I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of Thors. In the meantime, by the way, a couple of Hellions made their way across the map. Have no idea how those managed to sneak out. He's actually starting up a Thor. Okay, very cool. Yeah, this is gonna hurt. I mean, reinforcing Marines, I guess, can deal a little bit of damage here, but there's a bit of a stalemate in the center of the map. There's not a whole lot that's happening over there. One Marine apparently gunning down that barracks from earlier on, but that's still 7 SCVs that go down very, very quickly. So Thors nowadays have an insane amount of range, right? So they can definitely shoot down those Vikings if they overextend. Brave move right now, though, by Cure. Moving down that ramp. He tries to land the command center on the left. Interference matrix on a bunch of those siege tanks is gonna power some of them down, but there are simply so many tanks. Wow, I can't believe he actually decided to move down that ramp. In the meantime, though, also a drop inside of the main base. He's gonna try and see if he can snipe down that armory, deny the upgrade. There it is. Upgrade did get denied, very painful. Thor right now finishes up, though. Not a unit that we see all too much. But, ooh, he's almost gonna be able to get the second armory too. Not gonna happen, though, as the Marines, Marauders, and the Medevac do get shut down. Move right here on the right-hand side, too, but those units will also be killed. But Dream still seems to be able to contain his opponent somewhat. 4th command center finishes up right now for the player in blue. He's gonna be able to continue macroing up. He actually seems to have forgotten +2 armor for his infantry units. That is quite painful. Need to get those 3-3 upgrades as soon as possible, but I guess he managed to deny one of his opponent's upgrades too, so that's okay. Here we go. Once again, Dream is gonna have to defend against a Terran army that's awkwardly trying to force itself down a ramp. Thors right now also utilized in the battlefield. One of them had interference matrix on it, but I mean, Dream, he just simply doesn't have the numbers to stick around. Very, very cool. We don't see mech too much right now in TVT. I gotta say, I'm a big fan. Love seeing that variety. And you know what? Even though he doesn't have the air dominance and his siege tanks can't really shoot away that far, it's looking like he's got like a macro orbital command over here inside of the main base just to get scans. So he can still get maximum vision. More expansions here on the right-hand side as well. Looks like Dream right now wants to expand vertically, but I feel like that's not gonna be... Like, he's expanding away from his opponent, which I do like. A couple of Marauders actually now also dealing some damage here. No cancel on that CC. His main concern right now is this massive Terran army. There's actually a couple of the boys as well, a bunch of SCVs, trying to repair as many of these units as possible too. Siege tanks right now will just simply unsiege and just kill the tank that's on that high ground. Even though they don't have maximum range right now, he's gonna siege a couple right there on the perimeter. This is certainly gonna cut off Dream from his 4th and 5th base right now too. Looks like reinforcing units for the Terran player in red managed to kill those attacking units from the player in blue too. All of a sudden, you blink once, Cure is in your base. Now, when siege tanks are in this position, it's very difficult to get anything done. And you know what? usually it is not a good, or it's not a bad idea to start switching into for example, Liberators once you do have that air advantage, right? He's trying to make Liberators right now, and I kind of like the idea, but those stores, they're scary. They're going to be able to, I believe, have 11 range, and that's pretty much as those Liberators have. So I guess with advanced ballistics, you're not going to be able to get that much done. Right? Like, I think you need advanced ballistics here to really make anything happen. Look at how much damage those stores do. I mean, there's a couple of tanks helping too. Medevacs right now trying to leave the main base. The Vikings apparently now have decided that they need to land, as there's not a whole lot of flying units available. Very interesting. So he's getting his maximum range on those siege tanks, utilizing, I guess, what we can call now that macro command center, using the orbital command. Anyways, and then also those stores. The last stand here from Dream. Is there gonna be enough? Well, those tanks are just shelling away at as many of those blue units as possible. Cure opened up hyper aggressively in this game, then transitioned towards that Banshee dive into the mineral lines, right? Tried to contain his opponent, and even though he had to make that really awkward move down the ramp, which I, generally speaking, would not recommend. He had to break out of his own 3-base setup. He managed to do so wonderfully, and he is the one who obtains the victory. Cure has been very impressive recently. Really curious what he's gonna look like. Well, pun not intended, okay, but really curious what he looks like in 2020. I think he's one of the very best, and he certainly has been making a bit of a name for himself already. Yeah, really showing us what he's made of in this game. I hope that you enjoyed watching it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. Special shout out, as always, to the Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much for your generosity. In case you wanted to support me directly as well and unlock some awesome perks, you can head on over to patreon.com/LowkoTV. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright. And I will see you once again in the next one.